The first issue is trying to get teachers to do more experiments. So in science, the most important thing is experimental evidence. So hopefully the focus on teaching science is doing experiments. Lots of barriers. So first, resources. It's not too expensive. You can just grab a microscope like this. I've taken the two polarising lenses from the physics department, put one above the slide and one underneath. And then I sort of rotate them. So if you rotate just one, it's plane polarized. It should be underneath for the plane polarized, but I put it on the top because it's easier to record the video that way. When there's two on there, I rotate the other one, and that's cross polarized. And so the minerals will change the way the light moves when it's polarized and cross polarized, and you need both of those to work out which mineral it is. We shall see in a second, but just resource-wise, you can just use sunglasses, which is what I'm using now. So you can just grab a microscope plus your sunglasses, and so that just works just as well. It's slightly better using a proper Polaroid lens because the sunglasses can be a little dark, but it still works fine, which I'm showing there. And so you can see that the resource issue is not an issue. It's pretty much very cheap. You just have to buy a set of slides of rocks cut thinly, and then polarizing lenses are quite cheap. Everything else is quite cheap. I guess the other issue is just time. Teachers have enough time. Maybe the other issue is more labs, more behavior management. But considering that experimental evidence is the only thing that matters in science, really the only thing that matters in science teaching is having the kids do science and see the experiments and do the experiments. It's not the theory or the textbook. Real science has to be the experiment. So hopefully it'll encourage people to do this, all right? Because I think I'm doing these videos, and when I'm teaching rocks, I'm definitely having my students do it, but I wouldn't be surprised if I'm the only teacher in my state doing it, or maybe the country. But anyway, so these ones here are, you can see it works quite fine. You can still see the different features. It's a little darker, but it's all good. This one here is this ancient thing that's like a portable microscope. There's that little thing there. So when you put it down, that's crossed because it's always a polarized lens at the bottom. And then you just put the slide in at the top, and then you rotate it at the bottom. And then when you want to do the cross polarized, you put the little flip down at the top, and that's cross polarized. And it's a little hard to show it. I'm just putting that through my cell phone camera. You can see it's a little bit of a portable microscope. Might not be that easy to see through the cell phone, and then that's cross polarized when you put it down. And so they're just cheap materials from China that work perfectly fine. So you can do that as well. All right. And so just jumping through to what it's going to look like when I do the videos. So I'm going to do 4 videos, and I'll explain why I do these ones. So I'll do calcium first, calcium carbonate first, then quartz, feldspar, micro, and olivine. And when I do it, the left-hand side will be constantly rotating it, and then I might pause it, freeze it at the end. And that's plane polarized on the left and cross polarized on the right. Just have to go through a few features, what we'll be looking at mainly. And so I'll just take main features off this table here because they are enough to be diagnostic, I believe. So I start with calcite because I really wanted to start with quartz. And so I start with quartz because it is the most common. So let me just go through actually just a quick overview. So which minerals do I focus on? I'll only focus on the minerals you're going to see. And the only minerals you're going to see are the ones that have solidified. And the only ones that have solidified are the ones that are less dense, the ones that have lots of silicon dioxide in it rather than metals. And so quartz is a 3D silicate. These ones are chains, then they're double chains, single chains, and single. So you're getting less and less silicon dioxide per ratio of metal. And that's why 60% of everything you see is feldspar. And why is it not quartz? I mean, why do you see so much more quartz? Because the quartz is the most resistant to weathering. So quartz and feldspar is what you're going to see. You're going to see bits of mica. You're not going to see bits of anything else. The minerals are actually, so there you go, plagioclase, feldspar, quartz. These two are just feldspars, sodium, calcium, and potassium feldspars. So you pretty much just see those. Now, minerals are classified into silicate and non-silicate, and so the super common one is carbonates. So calcium carbonate can be in the form of calcite, quite often, or aragonite, or different other forms, but it's calcium carbonate. And then the non-silicates, the ones in reds, are the ones you see all the time, so they're the ones we're going to deal with. So that is telling you why I'm going to choose those ones. Now I'm choosing calcium carbonate because I'm going to demonstrate quartzite and limestone, and I think, quartzite and sandstone, and I think the binding material between the round quartz grains in this sedimentary rock is limestone. Then the feldspars, micas, and just to let you see why I don't choose the extrusive fine grain rocks. These ones here are all large crystals, they're easy to see. When you get to the basalts, the rhyolites and stuff, the matrix, the crystals are too small, so you can't really make them out that well. So we're just doing the basics and introduction. So just really going through calcium carbonate, quartz, feldspar, mica, really. Okay. And so I'm just picking out the main features of those. And so plain polarized, we're basically just looking at, can you see the outline of the mineral or not? That's relief, so low if you can't, high if you can. And then we're just looking if there's any change in color. That's called pleochrism. And then we'll go to the cross polars. And if they're low, if they're just like grays and blues, it's low order. And if you can see some reds and some more colorful rainbows, it's higher order. And then we get to the more diagnostic special features, which probably should leave to the actual individual videos to explain those, because they're quite specific and you're looking for quite high detail. Okay, so that's how it's going. Cleavage is a little bit too hard to see. You've got to see the end of a crystal cut, so that angle is very rare. Okay, and there's some other information for you that I won't show in those individual videos. So have a look at the other videos there, and I hope you enjoy. I'll try and put them all up at once.